The International Criminal Court is moving on the complaint filed against President Rodrigo Duterte for thousands of killings during his bloody war on drugs. Malacanang confirms the ICC is starting preliminary examinations to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to establish that the case falls under its jurisdiction. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says, quote, "The President and I met about this extensively for 2 hours last night. The President welcomes the preliminary examination because he is sick and tired of being accused." Roque says that if the complaint would prosper, Duterte would be willing to face the ICC. The Office of the Prosecutor is acting on communications filed by lawyer Jude Sabio and a second one by Senator Antonio Trillanes and Magdala Representative Gary Alejano in 2017. The preliminary examination is the first step in the ICC's prosecution process. The ICC is the world's first treaty-based permanent international criminal court that aims to end impunity. It investigates serious crimes including genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and crimes of aggression. Senator Grace Poe on Thursday slams presidential spokesperson Harry Roque for saying the Philippines will someday thank China for its artificial islands in the West Philippine Sea. Poe calls Roque's statement as wishful thinking. She says, quote, "The West Philippine Sea will freeze over first before China will even begin toying with the idea of giving us back those islands." Roque made a statement on Wednesday during an interview with President Rodrigo Duterte's supporter. He said, quote, "There will come a time when China's might has ceased, when we will have to thank them for those islands." Roque added, quote, "Clearly, eventually, those artificial islands will be ours if we can ask China to leave." The West Philippine Sea dispute heated up this week after the Philippine Daily Inquirer published close-up aerial photos of China's militarization of its artificial islands in the disputed waters. Malacanang on Thursday says there's no need to authorize the National Food Authority to import 250,000 metric tons of rice because about 325,000 metric tons of rice will arrive this month. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says Cabinet Secretary and NFA Council Chairperson Leoncio Evasco Jr. confirmed the NFA was given standby authority to import 250,000 metric tons of rice. On Wednesday, NFA Administrator Jason Aquino clarified there is no rice shortage in the Philippines. But he also admitted their inventory of NFA rice is running low. Aquino is looking at the importation of rice as another mode of replenishing their buffer stock. Aquino is at odds with Evasco and the rest of the NFA Council over which mode of importation government should go for. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez and officials of the Philippine affiliate of South Korea-based Hyundai Motor Company are facing plunder and other criminal charges over 1.1 billion pesos worth of undue tax exemptions and alleged preferential treatment. The charges are filed by the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption Thursday before the Justice Department. VACC lawyer Ferdinand Topacio accused Lopez, who also heads the Board of Investments, of economic sabotage through technical smuggling and estafa. VACC filed the complaint after the BOI inspected Hyundai Asia Resources' manufacturing plant in Santa Rosa, Laguna, and discovered its non-compliance with the Motor Vehicle Development Program. Under Executive Order No. 156, the MVDP aims to establish and/or expand production facilities of global vehicle manufacturers to allow the export of completely built-up motor vehicles as well as increase the export of motor vehicle parts and components. The VACC claims the BOI discovered during its inspection that there were no assembly jigs and welding machines on the assembly floor. The BOI said these findings indicate the absence of basic assembly processes. The VACC says Lopez should be held liable for plunder for taking advantage of his position as chairman of the BOI to unjustly favor Hyundai. The Canadian government on Wednesday says it will review a deal with the Philippines over the sale of 16 helicopters over concerns on how the helicopters will be used. The Philippines bought 16 new Bell helicopters from Canada for about $234.8 million or around 12 billion pesos from the state-run Canadian Commercial Corp, with deliveries set to start in 9 months. The Philippine Defense Department says the Bell 412 EPI helicopters are multi-purpose aircraft for anti-terrorism and for disaster response and humanitarian missions. But Canadian Trade Minister François-Philippe Champagne says the deal will be reviewed over concerns the new helicopters will be used to strengthen the Philippines' fight against Islamic militants and other domestic insurgencies. When the deal was struck in 2012, Canada said it understood that the choppers will be used for search and rescue operations during disasters, not for use in fighting rebels. Human rights groups in Canada criticized the deal, asking if the Canadian government conducted a human rights assessment before approving it. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau clashed with host President Rodrigo Duterte over Philippine drug war killings on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit in Manila last November. Trudeau called out Duterte over human rights, the rule of law, and specifically extrajudicial killings during their meeting. Duterte later described Trudeau's comments as a personal and official insult.